A new Fragment champion is dropped. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Fenyks-Gaming here with another episode of Raid Shadow Legends. And as the intro went over, or mentioned, a new Fragment champion has dropped. And I gotta say, I have to redact one of my old statements that all fusion / fragment summons should be done. Because this one just may not be that. And here's why. First of all, let's pull up the image of him, right? Let's take a look and see what he looks like. Cool, you know, like he's got great visual aesthetics, but Raid very rarely launches a legendary that doesn't. So there's no surprise there. Like, you would expect him to have an intense kit to go along with it. His name is Oparin Clanfather, which, you know, just sounds pretty epic. Sounds legendary even. But his kit is just not good. It's just not good. And you know, we'll pull that up here. He's an HP based champ. He's an HP based champ with some interesting abilities, but not interesting in a good way. Interesting as in a huh? Like, what were you thinking? Kind of way. So we'll just dive right into them. Actually, really quick, let's take a second here and look at the Barbarian Faction. He is a Barbarian. He has magic affinity, and he's HP based, which is interesting. So, of the legendaries in the Barbarian Faction, you have Ursiga Warcaller being the only other one. I mean, which is kind of nice. It's kind of nice getting an HP based champion, just because if they have good multipliers, they can be really diverse, right? They can be brought into a lot of content, namely higher Doom Tower stages, and they won't just be killed immediately. But that still does depend on their kit. Like, it still is contingent upon what they bring to the table, because in places like hard Doom Tower, the higher levels of it, you need to have a lot going on, and a very effective kit at keeping the enemies from going, basically, from doing what they want to do, or just to help keep your team alive in an effective manner, right, with efficiency. And all right, if we pull his abilities back up, we'll just start from the top. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 5%, which, if you've seen how these turn meters work, that's almost nothing. That's almost nothing. And it's not even a 100% chance. Not even a 100% chance. He also has a 50% chance of filling his turn meter by 5%. So a total offset of 10%. But it's not AoE. It's one enemy champion and just him. Right? So that's not legendary. That's not legendary at all. Armiger beats that. Right? Allure murders that. Heck, Vlad's AoE decreased turn meter beats that. You know, I know this is an A1, but it's single target. You know, so if you just look at, you know, one target per turn, Vlad does his I think it's his A2. His A2 gets 4 targets in one turn, has a 3-turn cooldown. Right? So that's a 4-to-3 ratio. In 3 turns, he'll manipulate 8 turn meters by bare minimum 50%. Could be 100% based on the faction, but yeah, he's just, so that's a total of like 4 full turn meters bare minimum every 3 turns, and then every 3 turns this guy is doing 15% of 1 turn meter with his A1. Of course, that's not the highlight of his kit. Like, that's not the piece de resistance by any stretch, but let's just go look at the next one, right? And it's equally underwhelming. His A2 attacks all enemies. Good if he has multipliers, like good multipliers. but you can't buff his damage. You can debuff the enemies to increase his damage, but you can't buff his damage on the ally side, right? Because he is HP based. Heals all allies by 10% of his champion's max HP, which 10% is a really low number. So for this to be super useful, you're gonna have to have like 100k HP, right? If you want to get like big chunk heals, you're gonna need 100k HP on this guy, which is not the easiest things to do. It's possible, albeit, I mean, like you see Mountain Kings all the time with really high HP, or you see miscreated monsters with really high HP. Even Fenyks, you know. So I'm curious to see the multipliers. I can't wait for that to get published when those multipliers come out. So yeah, well, I mean, this one's still pending. And then the secondary effect is it heals all allies under continuous heal buffs by 15% instead. So if you have a reliable continuous heal buff applier, then that can be pretty cool. Unless his HP warrants, like, unless it's better to have the 10% of his HP, right? It really depends on what your team build out's like. Yeah, so, okay. Oh, by the way, cooldown's 4 turns, probably books to 3. Just a hunch. I can't see that being a 2. If that was a 2-turn cooldown, that would be raunchy. Okay. A3, Clan Mentor. Removes all block buffs and heal reduction debuffs from all allies. Removes all block buffs and heal reduction debuffs from all allies. Then places 2 15% continuous heal buffs on all allies for 2 turns. Also has a 75% chance of removing one random debuff from all allies. Hopefully that books to 100%, and this books to 3 turns. That 2 continuous heals, that's cool. But that first sentence of this ability, removes all block buffs and heal reduction debuffs from all allies, that just feels incomplete. That doesn't feel like it's a full legendary ability. I mean, like, look at Tuhanerak, right? Just cleanse. I know it's not like a universal cleanse. Like, if there's 8 buffs up there, it's not going to be all of them, but it's going to be two debuffs, regardless of what they are. Block buffs and heal reduction. I'm trying to think what bosses do that. You know, it might be useful for Doom Tower. That might be useful for Doom Tower. So, you know, I'm not going to condemn that one immediately. And then his A4, Paternal. This is his passive, Paternal. Each time a continuous heal buff heals an ally, fills that ally's turn meter by 5%. There are multiple champions in the team with a skill, only one will activate. Okay, so you can't double up on them and get 10% out of that. I see this being particularly useful when you're running him with someone like Wither, who can activate all continuous heal buffs in the middle of a turn, right, and kind of maybe cut the line a little bit using that. But that's so situational. Like, I could see it. I could see it happening. I mean, that build out, that team comp you wouldn't be able to tune it all, because Wither's continuous heal is it's a random target based on their HP, their current HP. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool, but 5%, again, that's not much. Like, bump that up to like 15%, bump that up to 10%. Like, you get 4 continuous heals on somebody and they activate, bump it up by, you know, their turn meter by 60%. That'd be nuts. That would be insane. Now, that would be a champion being like, oh my goodness, let's think about the comps we can build with this guy. But as of right now, it's just not that exciting, you know. And I know in the previous video I said all fusion and fragment champs are worth going for, but if your account is stretched right now because we just had a pretty exhausting, you know, 3 months of fusions and fragment summons, then you might have to consider whether or not it's worth going for this one. Like, I'm going to do the events and tournaments because I have the resources, I have champions I need to build out, and it's a fragment summon, so it's gonna be pretty easy, right? With that in mind, last year's Valentine's event, which is gonna be the February fusion, was Astralon, right? Astralon was good. Astralon is very good. He hits like a truck, right? So, and it was a little more difficult. That was the one where they first did it was 4 Lodricks that you had to get, right? And a lot of people didn't finish. That was a struggle. If I'm not wait, no, I'm sorry. That was March. What was February? February was Iron Brago. Iron Brago was good though too. He's a savage. I didn't get to fuse Brago or Astralon because my account was too new. Luckily, I've pulled them both since. I'm really excited about that. Like, generally speaking, I won't be excited about Fragment and Fusion champs coming out of shards, but those are 2 that I really wanted and I regretted not having. So with that being said, like the next one might be better, right? If the points for the summon rush are too high, I might have to second guess whether or not I'm gonna finish this fusion. You know, like I'm gonna go through champ training, obviously Dragon, Spider, Ice Golem, Fire Knight, whatever comes up first. But if those points are too high, then you know, like my count's pretty low on shards right now. I mean, like obviously I have enough to do it, but I can't guarantee that I'm gonna fill those resources back up by the time the next fusion, which will be a regular fusion, comes around. And those are traditionally, you know, or historically rather, much more difficult. So, you know, that's what I got. Let me know what you think about this champion. If you see a use for him that I have not seen, you know, like pairing him with a certain champ. One thing that I've noticed though as a trend is that Plarium does release champions that don't seem relevant right now, and then all of a sudden later on something comes out where they are relevant. So that's something to consider. Let me know. Leave a comment. You know, let me know if I'm missing something. You know, the way I see it is if his A2 nukes hard, then this is viable. If it doesn't nuke hard, then you're gonna have a lot of meh feelings about him. Or if you don't have a lot of continuous heal champs, then this is a meh champ right now, right? So, yeah, go ahead, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and tell me whether or not you're going to be going for this fragment summon. Alright, that's all I got for today. We'll catch you guys later. Take it easy.